2, 1. All right, we are live.
We're good. How are you this week, Davis?
Doing good. Fistful of Dice, episode 3.
3 Chaos.
Chaos edition. Yep, third episode. What did you work on this week, Mike?
Worked on my Mega Gargant some more.
Worked on the Mega Gargant more.
Gotta get them done before our big game.
Yep, we're planning a big game of Sigmar where we're going to do a big siege battle between a bunch of Order and Destruction factions. So
I gotta get those big giant boys painted.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. I worked on... I built some Skaven, some rats, and I worked on some old fantasy orcs that I found. So I've just kind of been modeling with a few smaller little kits. This week was I had a lot of classes and stuff to do, so I didn't get a whole lot of hobbying done this week, but that's how it is sometimes.
That's just how it be sometimes. First things first, before we jump into Chaos.
We're going to do the Crack Pack for this week. Battle for Zendikar.
Here's the issue. The way our thing is set up, the camera is like over here.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it too much, I don't think. I think it's just one pack. So if you want, you can get up and show it to them.
Get up in here. It's very not focused on that.
Because you're going to have to refocus it. So I think it's easier to just say, like, we can probably skip the commons. Because commons are commons. I don't want to sit
and... charges in the bad card.
Yeah. Maybe when we do an episode about Magic, we can go through the commons stuff, talk about that. But.
So, first uncommon, Royal's Retribution. It's for 3 and 2 white. Deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target attacking or blocking creatures.
It's expensive.
That's very expensive for that. Void Attendant.
It's 2 and a green for an Eldrazi.
Yeah. It's a 2/3 Eldrazi.
You can
put a card... For 1 and a green, you can put a card an opponent owns from exile into that player's graveyard. Put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token onto the battlefield. It has sacrifices, add 1 to your mana pool.
Okay. That maybe has some wild synergy with, like, Scavenging Ooze?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Malakir Familiar. 2 and a black, Flying Death Touch. Whenever you gain life, Malakir Familiar gets +1/+1 till end of turn.
Okay. Seems like a decent just beater for a limited format.
Felidar Sovereign.
I love Felidar Sovereign. I run him in my Angels deck. Classic.
4 and 2 white. It's a Vigilance Lifelink. Cat Beast. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game.
It's a classic card. And then a Plains. And a token. Not a super eventful pack. But that's just how it is. We had a decent pack last week. They're not all going to be winners. And just today, we actually recorded a Times Power Remastered box opening.
And we got some decent stuff.
Yep, we did get some decent stuff. But that'll be, we'll upload that to our YouTube channel. Yep. Fistful of Dice podcast on YouTube. Pretty much the same way you can find us on Twitch as on YouTube. So, with all the introductory and that kind of stuff being over, I think let's get right into it. We're finishing out our Getting Started in 40K series. And we're going to...
The last episode.
Yep, last episode. And we're doing Chaos. Chaos is the last faction. So, let me get us on frame here. Here we go. Alrighty. Well, let's just go from the top then, I guess. We're starting with
Chaos Demons, huh?
With Demons. This is an interesting army. Because, it's 4 armies. It's 4 armies. So I guess Nurgle's the first one up here, so let's just talk about Nurgle. I guess the other thing to note about Chaos Demons is that they can be played in both Age of Sigmar and in 40K.
So if you look at it that way, you're kind of getting...
Two armies for the price of one, sort of. They're honestly Nurgle. It's a tough spot for my favorite demons. Nurgle's one of them.
Nurgle is my favorite one. It's no contest.
Yeah, if you talked to me probably a couple months ago, I'd tell you Nurgle is my favorite, but Tzeentch is actually I'm
working his way in.
His way. He's being a real trickster. But let's go with Nurgle Demons. Let's start with their start collecting since they have one.
By 3.
You like this?
I love this box.
I mean, I think it's it's a pretty good start. You get what? You get 3 Nurglings, 10 Plague Bearers, 3 of the Bloat Drones, and then you get a Poxbringer.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a solid start, right? Because I mean, you're gonna use all of that stuff.
Yeah. No.
Especially Plague Bearers. You're gonna want a lot of Plague Bearers, and I know Nurglings are real popular.
Yep.
Right now, they're really tough. I don't know about the drones. I haven't really seen people play with the drones.
The drones used to be a lot stronger. They did kind of take a hit going into 9th. They're still good though.
Yeah.
You're still gonna get a lot of value out of them.
Yeah, I think this box is just a really good starting point. It gives you a lot of that baseline of things that you're gonna use for the Nurgle demons, and they're all cool kits. The nice thing with demons too is a lot of their stuff is plastic. There's some things that are resin still, I think.
A lot less now that all the greater demons got updated.
Yep, but there's still a few things that are resin, but it's most of it's plastic at this point. So
I like this box a lot.
Yeah, this is a good.
It's a good start point.
This is a good starting point. There's really not much else to say, because I really like all of it. There's nothing in here that you're really not going to use. Maybe the drones, maybe.
Yeah, Poxbringer, you might see some diminishing returns.
But definitely when you're getting started, you're going to use those drones, and maybe later you buy something else to kind of rotate them out.
Starting out, I like 3 of this box.
Yeah, this is just a really good start.
If you're feeling confident, you very easily could turn a Poxbringer into a Scrivener, which he's right there.
Yep.
If you just want to buy one of that box, I would buy one of that box, buy a Scrivener, and you're going to want more
Plague Bearers
and Nurglings.
And the Nurglings.
You can probably hold off on picking up the Bile Piper.
Yeah. What do you think about the Great Unclean one?
I think once you get to that point where you want a Great Unclean one or a bigger model, I think it's definitely worth it at that point. For starting out, I'd say no.
I mean, starting out with Nurgle demons, most of the demons are pretty straightforward as to how you start them out. I mean, Nurgle demons, it's Plague Bearers and
Nurglings,
and your couple of heroes you got, maybe some Bloat Drones, but they're really kind of simple, and then you get up to a Great Unclean one if that's really your style.
Yeah, I like the Great Unclean.
I think he's super good. They did a really good job on the model. It's a gorgeous model.
He's great. Like I said, he's just a lot for starting out.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I don't think there's really much more to say about Nurgle Demons. No, it's pretty simple, and I have a feeling it's going to be real similar with a lot of the demons here. We're gonna probably run through these pretty quick, even though they're a fairly big army. Yeah. I guess the one big thing about Chaos Demons, though, is you do have quite a bit of flexibility in the things you can take. However, they are exclusively melee, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
They don't really have any shooting. And you kind of... I wouldn't say they're bad. They're not a bad army. No. I think they definitely are doing better this edition than they have in previous editions.
Based on how 9th edition missions are laid out, they're definitely doing a lot better. Because Plague Bearers are very hard to get off an objective.
Yeah, they're really tough. Same with a lot of the Tzeentch demons too, with their 4-up invulnerables. But we'll talk about them when we get there. It's just I'm not sure if they're necessarily a super beginner friendly army. Nurgle demons probably aren't too bad, because Nurgle demons you won't get punished too hard for being
Nurgle demons you can make mistakes.
Yep. But I think let's move on to. Well, it looks like...
Whoa. Slaanesh demons.
I guess we're going to go to Slaanesh since they're the next one with start collecting. So, you actually had a Slaanesh army for a little while.
I did, and I sold it and bought Gargants with it.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're very fast.
We got a player in the store here, actually, the owner of one of the owners of Turbulent Games, Kagan, he actually plays Slaanesh demons, and he really likes them, and... He plays them quite a bit, so...
Yeah. I think they're a good army. I think this box is actually really good, too.
I'm not sure I don't think they're a pretty... They're not like Nurgle Demons. I think you kind of have to know your way around the game a lot better to play these. Because they're very fast. Yep. Super fast. But... you're going to get punished really hard if you're out of position or if you start taking losses.
You cannot make a lot of mistakes.
They are paper thin. Yeah. These are definitely the least resilient of the demons. These are glass cannon, move forward, hit hard, but
Yep.
they cannot take a beating to save their life. But what do we think about this start collecting? It's a really good core.
It's just a good core.
You get your hero on the chariot. You get 5 seekers, which are the.
If you get creative, you can just make that hero off the chariot as well if you have a spare base.
Yep, you get 5 seekers and 10 demonettes. I mean, it's all stuff you're gonna use.
Yep.
Seekers are really good, and so are demonettes. Demonettes are your basic troops. You're gonna have to take a bunch of them.
You're gonna have like 90 of them.
Right, and they're not bad as troops either, especially if you can actually get them into combat.
Yeah, I think if you get them into combat, they have just a ton of attacks.
The chariot may be kind of eh.
Yeah, of this box, the chariot is very eh.
I think it is a psyker though, right? The chariot, if you put the hero on top of it,
if
right?
you have the hero on it, I do believe it is.
And 3 of the 4. The other nice thing is that they maybe don't have shooting, but demons, or at least 3 of the 4 demon factions have psychers. And they kind of rely on them.
Yeah.
Most of them, their psychers are really good. So that it's really nice to have a psyker in the box because, or especially at a low points, psychic defense can be hard to come by.
I mean, the Puckspringer, I believe, is also a psyker.
Yep, he is. But yeah, I mean, I think you would have no problem buying 2 or 3 of this box either. It's full of stuff you're gonna use.
Pick up a mask, maybe a Demon Prince.
That
could go for the Nurgle one too.
Demon Princes are just overall good.
Yeah.
Any faction, I think, can take Demon Princes and not worry about it. They're just so good. I think
that goes pretty much, except for Chaos Knights, it goes pretty much
everything
today.
Honestly, Demon Princes are just so good. Top tier unit. As far as expanding from this, you could go with, like you said, some of the other miscellaneous heroes like the Mask or, I think they got
Demon Prince.
Yep, Demon Prince. Or you can go to the big Keeper of Secrets. Again, same sort of restrictions apply.
It's a big centerpiece model.
Giant centerpiece model. And so when you're ready to go up to something like that, definitely I think it's the one to go with. It's the most recent of all the Greater Demons. It's a great kit. It's got quite a few options even too. All of its arms. I'm pretty sure.
You can also build it as a named character. All the big demons you can also build as a name, except for the Bloodthirster, which we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll talk about him when we get there.
But the other ones you can build as
so
different. Like the Rodigus, he can be
the Great Unclean one,
or Rodigus. Same kid.
I know some people will magnetize him.
Yeah.
So they can just take the arms off that you need and the head off for that. But I mean it's a pretty simple start. Honestly, it's just get your Demonette core, get your Seekers. Yep. You're gonna want all that stuff.
And the thing with demons in general, you're gonna want probably 90 of your basic troop.
Yeah, just with all of them. Selesky is a cool model. I've never seen anyone play with one, but I've heard she's good. Do they really have anything else? Oh, the Inferno Enraptress is a cool model. I know Corey really likes this model.
Yep. I love the model. I just don't know rules wise because we don't have a ton of
we don't
Slaanesh players.
We got like the one, and then they got their Demonettes. I'm mostly just looking here to see if there's anything I'm forgetting. Heralds.
Yeah.
Heralds are pretty standard. Oh, Fiends. Fiends are a good note.
Fiends are a good pickup.
Fiends. Definitely, I think Fiends are a really good pickup if you can get them. Yeah. Like, obviously, they're out of stock right now, and especially with how the world is right now, it can be hard to get those things back in stock. So if you can get a hold of Fiends, I would definitely recommend buying them.
They're good.
They're really good. So moving on, I think Korn. Or no, Tzeentch.
Tzeentch.
Yep, Tzeentch. So these are the boys that I was saying are probably now my new favorites for demons. Mostly just because I think the blue magic sort of wizards aesthetic is really something that really trips my trigger. Yep, exactly. This one's interesting though. So what do you think? What do you think about this?
I think you buy one.
You think you only buy one?
Yeah.
You kind of get a lot of stuff you're just not gonna. That's just kind of right? Like the Flamers. I think the Flamers are okay, but
you're gonna want Exalted flavors, not just plain.
Yeah. And then the Chariot is kind of like it's the same issue as like the Chariot.
Yep.
You really only need one, and then you get a bunch of Seekers, which Seekers are real. They're fast. Yeah. Pink Horrors are really good. Pink Horrors are your good standard troop.
4 up Invuln.
4 up Invuln, and so the Tzeentch's big thing is that they are they're big wizards. They're big on. They cast a lot of spells. I'm pretty sure the Pink Horrors can cast a smite. They are a Psyker unit, and then you also get a Herald, which is just a good leader choice. Although you probably put him on the Chariot if you buy this box. You could do the Exalted Flamer on Chariot, but that seems real meh. Yeah. I think it probably depends what you want to do. If you think that you were going to use an Exalted Flamer on Chariot, then I could see buying 2 of these being okay. Yep. But if you weren't going to go with an Exalted Flamer on Chariot, you probably just buy one of these and then just start picking up more Pink Horrors or Zangors. Zangors are really good. That's one of their troop options. They can outfit them with swords and pistols, I think is what the 40k ones. They can have
chain swords and pistols or just sword and shield.
Yep. So they're a good pickup, and they're honestly this might be a faction where you don't have to do 90 Pink Horrors. You could probably do 30 or 60 Pink Horrors and then do 30 of the Zangors or 60 depending on, kind of pick and choose. Right. In fact, but if you were gonna do Zangors, I would honestly say just don't even get this. Yeah. Like if you were like, man, I want to go with the full Zangors route, I wouldn't even bother with this.
Yeah, you can get like you can play all the Zangor units pretty much now.
Yep. Not because it's not a good deal, but just because that's none of this stuff in there is really gonna accomplish what you want to do. But they have a lot of wizards. You get some of the Exalted Flamers. The Blue Scribes are hilarious.
So basically, they can, if someone else casts a psychic power, if they deny it, they steal it,
right? Yeah, they steal spells. Hilarious. I guess the other thing to note with Tzeentch is their basic troops, the Pink Horrors here.
Yep.
Because the Blue Scribes, I'm remembering this now. So the Pink Horrors, when they die, they can split into the Blue Horrors. Right. And then the Blue Horrors can split into the little Brimstone Horrors. You do have to pay the extra points to let them do that. I don't know, do you think it's worth it to pay the extra points?
If you're using the Horrors to cap objectives, absolutely. If you're using them to be Pink Horrors, you want them to run up and fight stuff.
Yeah, I think no.
I don't think no.
If you're using them to stick on an objective, that's definitely going to up their durability. Yeah. But you're paying a premium to actually take those. And the other thing too with demons, just overall, is that we're not going to really be talking about summoning because summoning is honestly just awful.
Yeah, it doesn't really work in 9th edition either.
I don't think I can really give an opinion on it until they get a 9th edition codex and we see if they've changed the rules or not.
Because as it stands right now,
there's no reason to. You have to pay extra points. You have to pay the points equal to whatever you want to summon. And it's not even like Deep Strike where you can at least guarantee that it's going to get on the board. In theory, if you get second turn, they could snipe all your characters and then you lose all of those points. So we're not going to talk about summoning because we just, honestly, I think it's bad right now. And we're going to need to wait and see what they do with the codex.
It's not in a great spot currently.
Yeah. But Tzeentch Demons, I think, and then for their big centerpiece model, they have the Lord of Change, which is the big burb boy. That's Kairos, which is the named character.
Yep, which is the named character you build out of that box.
Yep. I love the Lord of Change. I think the Lord of Change is my favorite greater demon. I love the Lord of Change.
He's cool looking. My favorite, personally, is the Great and Clean one.
It's a good one, and it's a close second for me. Like I said, Nurgle was my first love, but Tzeentch has really been... I just have been turned to Tzeentch as of recent. I really love a lot of their models, and I mean, Tzeentch demons aren't... they're all pretty competitive, aside from Khorne demons, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of them have lists that you can build that are going to see success and you can actually win with.
Well, I know we have a player in our town that plays Khorne demons, that plays them competitively.
Oh, does he?
Yep. But it is like 3 bloodthirsters. And
yeah, I know. Let's talk about the codex quick too. Same sort of deal as we were saying last week. I think you just go with the app on this one because really to play demons to the fullest of their capabilities, you're gonna want their Psychic Awakening too, because that gives you all the rules for doing exalted greater demons, and those are like one of the main selling points of demons.
So good.
So good.
Especially
Ridiculously
the Lord
good.
of Change rules they can get.
Yeah, Lord of Change is one of the greater demons that benefited the most from this, from that. And so you're going to want... Just go with the app, because I guarantee you by the time you would have spent all that money, they're probably going to have a new codex. So I think just the app is fine with this one. But I think that's really it for Tzeentch, and we'll go on to the last Khorne demons unit, or the last demon faction, excuse me. Khorne demons. What do you think about that? I think this is a good box.
I think you can buy 3 of these.
I think you can too. I think this is a good box.
I think you build the Herald on Chariot once, and then you build 2 of the Skull Cannons.
Yep. Because you get 10 Bloodletters, which are your basic troops. You get 3 of the Blood Crushers, which are the mounted guys, and then you get one of the
Blood Chariot,
or with the Herald,
Blood Throne, or the Skull Cannon.
Yep. So you can do it as either the Herald on the Chariot, or you can do a cannon.
Yep.
Which is, it's not bad at shooting. It's like the one
it's like
PC
the one
unit
thing.
PC shooting that they can get, but it's not bad.
No.
And yeah, I think you can make a case for 3 of these, because you'll probably use all those mounted guys, and you're going to use Bloodletters. Bloodletter bombs are really, really strong. Yeah. And Khorne's thing, however, with Khorne, their whole thing is they are masters of combat. They're really good in combat and really not super great at like anything else. Yeah. They don't have any wizards. Nope. There's no psychers. None of that. They don't do any magic. They have a few things that can deny psychic spells. Yep. So they're not completely vulnerable to psychic attacks. There's some characters that do it as well. Right, but they can... I think Fleshhounds can deny one with their brass collars, and I'm pretty sure you can upgrade Bloodthirsters if they can't already do it. Yeah.
I can't recommend the Fleshhound box, though.
Yeah, so in terms of expanding, I think you just kind of build out the rest of that core, right? You build more Bloodletter bombs, you get more of the infantry. The Fleshhounds are such a cool kit, but man... $50 for 5 of them is rough.
Because it's like, I don't even think they're 100 points.
No, it wouldn't be so bad if Fleshhounds were a decent amount of points, but they're not. They're real cheap, and to make them effective, you need a lot of them. Yep. So if that's something that you want, buyer beware type deal, like don't let that recommendation stop you from buying them if you really love the models and you really want to build a lot of Fleshhounds. But just keep in mind what you're getting yourself into before you buy in. Demon Prince's a solid choice. Yep. And they have the Skull Taker is not a bad hero. That's a new model for Skull Taker.
It sure is.
It's really good. Yep, I have the old Skull Taker model and it is bad. It's
he does look sad, especially compared to the new Skull Taker. Karanak or whatever is up top. He's a good one. Yep. He himself is a Fleshhound.
Yep, new Fleshhound hero. The Blood Crushers are a good pickup. What do you think about the Soul Grinder / Defilers? Demon Engine.
I want to recommend them because they're cool, but...
You don't think they're great?
No. And I don't love their models either.
No. Kagan runs a Defiler.
He does.
Defiler, and he really likes it, so... I think it's, certain people like them more than others.
Yeah,
type deal.
That's absolutely what it is.
I don't know if they're competitive or not. I don't really have the knowledge to tell you if they're good or not.
I don't see them run anywhere.
Right. Herald on Juggernaut or just on foot. You probably just go with a one on... Depends on what you're running them with. If you're just running them behind a bunch of Bloodletters, I think you go with the one on foot. If you got a bunch of cavalry, you go with the one on Juggernaut. Yeah. It's really as simple as that. And then the last thing they got is they do have a greater demon, just like the rest of them, in the Bloodthirster, which they're giant greater demon, which is really good. It's a good unit, a huge beat stick. Yeah. However, it is the one kit that you cannot assemble the named character out of.
You cannot assemble Scarbrand out of it.
No, that is a different kit. So do not buy the Bloodthirster. If you want Scarbrand, you do have to. He even comes on a different base. He's on a different base than the.
He's on a circle, not an oval.
Yep. And he's just kind of weird. I actually have a Scarbrand because my original army for Age of Sigmar was Khorne. I don't have a lot of demons, but one of the demons I have is Scarbrand. But yeah, it's a cool kit. He was the first of the greater demons, so I think they were still trying to figure out how they really wanted to do that. So that's kind of just how that kit is just kind of suffers.
The Scarbrand looks great. I like the Scarbrand model.
Yeah, Scarbrand's really cool. Khorne's probably my third. I love Tzeentch and Nurgle, and then it's Khorne, and Slaanesh is my least favorite. Yeah. That's just how it is for me. But I mean, overall, what do we think about Chaos Demons?
And you can't. There are ways to mix them up. You can't.
Yeah, you can play them all together, but you kind of lose a lot of the benefit. Yeah. You definitely are getting a lot of benefits to sort of specialize into one.
To dedicate to one, yeah.
To one god. You're kind of, if you want to do a big soup army, I've seen it before. They can be effective, but that definitely I think is going to take a lot more knowledge on yourself.
Absolutely.
Of the game and knowing how it works to make that effective. So from a new player's standpoint, I think you just dedicate yourself to one god, and if you want to expand past that, do that later on once you know how to play the game. Once you got all that. Right. So, and most of them are like I think. Nurgle and Khorne, I think, are fairly beginner friendly.
Yeah.
Khorne's a little frail, but his goal is just run up and punch.
Yep.
Whereas I think Tzeentch and Slaanesh are a little bit more complicated.
You have to be a little more tactical with them.
Yeah, because Tzeentch depends a lot on how you're using their spells, and the sequencing of how all that happens is really important to playing Tzeentch effectively. Yeah. So I think if you let Rule of Cool is first off, but if you're thinking, oh man, I want to maybe do an easier army, then I think Nurgle and Khorne are probably one of the ones you should look at.
That's right.
But I think that's it for Chaos Demons.
Let's check.
I guess something quick to mention before we get done with them. Bellicor got a new model.
He is getting a new model, and he looks great.
Awesome model. I don't know. Here, let me see if I can just find it. Bellicor. Nope, that is a band. Warhammer. Okay.
He also looks huge.
That is a giant model, and it is awesome. That is an awesome model. You can see here at his foot, there's like a Chaos Warrior. If you're playing 40k, like what we're talking about, there's a Space Marine that comes in the kit.
There's the Lieutenant.
You can get on his base.
Another new lieutenant for Premise.
Right? It's really funny. I think it's just... I can't give you an opinion other than that he's a cool model. From what I've heard, there might be some stuff to run, like a Bellicor...
With Chaos Undivided.
With Chaos Undivided. That's his whole thing. So, wait to see what happens when he comes out. But, that's pretty much... all we have to say there. Let's quick check chat. Nothing in the chat right now.
Keep hammering on to Chaos Knights.
All right.
This might be one of the shorter ones. Not a whole lot to say about Chaos Knights.
Oh wait.
What?
Okay, here we go.
What you doing?
Yeah. Okay. I'm worried that we weren't showing any of that on screen. We talked about it, so I mean I can. But all right, Chaos Knights.
There are your kids.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Plus the Forge World stuff.
In seriousness though, you can buy regular knights and you can convert them up yourself and make them look as wild and outlandish as you can.
Knights are in a real tough position, kind of like how we said in the Imperium episode. Knights are just they're gonna kill, and they're cool models. I love the models. I guess what do they have? I guess the War Dogs. What those are the same models. You can take all of the other knight things
you
here,
all
like
the
tyrants.
Stuff,
the tyrants are just the Dominus class.
Yep.
And the Despoiler, that's legit, just a knight kit with. I don't even think that has any like chaos bits on it. I'm pretty sure that's all just painted on.
Yep.
So they're a cool army.
Yeah.
I love Chaos Knights. I love knights just in general.
I love the new Chaos Knight models, like the Knight Desecrator and the Knight Rampager.
Yeah, they did a really good job making him really look like Chaos Knights,
Evil.
because before it was just you just used the one kit for all
Yeah.
of them and you called it there. But so it's one of those things where like if you have a specific weapon loadout that they can't do, get the Imperial Knight kit. If you're okay with running with, like if you want a Rampager for a full melee knight, go with that kit.
Yeah.
It's really that simple, and they're the same sort of stuff we said with knights applies to Chaos Knights. They're not very beginner friendly in the sense of like
winning games.
They'll kill a lot of stuff and they're hard to kill, but they're not going to be. They're not good at keeping objectives. No. They're not good at doing
until they get their codex updates. Same with Imperial Knights. They're just gonna be in a rough spot.
They're in a rough spot. But if all you're doing is playing killing games at the start of when you start playing, you'll have a blast. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people won't want to. Your new friends, if you're getting into it with some people, probably won't want to play you very often, because knights are a really good noob stomper army.
Yeah, they are.
They
are.
They're really good at beating players who don't really know what they are. So.
Yep.
This is a real short one, honestly. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say. Buy some knights if you want some knights. That's it. Yeah. All right, moving on.
Chaos Knights, you can bring them in a detachment along with other Chaos stuff, which is cool. But
all right, well,
that's really about it.
Yeah. On to Chaos Space Marines. I think this is going to be where the bulk.
This is gonna be the bulk.
Okay, Chaos Space Marines. Before we get started in what we think about their start collecting, like what do we think about the army? It's in a rough spot right now.
Generic Chaos Space Marines are in a rough spot.
I don't know why they didn't just do this, but they did. They don't have the 2 wound upgrade yet.
Nope.
So they're really, really frail at that 1 wound still, especially when you're playing against like a lot of even just normal Space Marines now have 2 wounds. So it's hard to really. They're a cool army, and that's. I'm like, I love the Chaos Space Marines so much. They were, not generic Chaos. I did Death Guard as my first, but like I love Chaos Space Marines, and I wish they were better. They were good for a while. Like they've had some pretty good lists come out. It's not that they're really not competitive. It's just they're kind of getting outclassed right now until they get their new codex. So it's just one of those things. You'll have to wait until the codex comes out for you to really start to see the full potential of the army. But with that being said, let's get into let's talk about their start collecting first, because they only have 1, even though they kind of have a bunch of different chapters within. So what do we think about the start collecting Chaos Space Marines? I think this is good.
I think it's a good box.
I think you could probably
get some Obliterators. You get 10 Chaos Space Marines. You get the 2 Greater Possessed.
Yep.
Plus a Demon Engine. The Demon Engine's kind of
And you get a Master of Possessions, which is a Psyker, right?
No, I do not believe he is.
I'm pretty sure he's a Psyker. You might be thinking of the Dark Apostle. He's the Dark Apostle's like their chaplain.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's a Psyker. It's a good core. I don't think you buy more than 2. I think if you're gonna buy another one, you can be okay with buying another one. The Greater Possessed, you're gonna be like, I have too many of these. But other than that, I mean, you'll use.
You always want more Obliterators.
Always want more Obliterators. Always want more Marines.
Yep.
Another Venom Crawler won't hurt you.
Yeah.
And another Master of Possessions isn't bad either. So I think you can do fine with this. This isn't like a super outstanding one or anything, but it's not terrible either.
Yeah, it's a 1 or 2, and that's about it.
Yep.
And this might be one of those ones that gets dropped.
Yeah, maybe. Well, right, because now they're redoing combat patrols for all of the new things
because even last week, now there's a new combat patrol out for
Dark Eldars. Yeah. So that part of our review is kind of, and we said that though when we were going over them, that it's really subject to change. I think that this is a good starting point. But let's go back and. As far as expanding, they do have a lot of units that you can expand to. They're just like a different flavor of the normal Marines.
I feel like it depends on which chapter you're playing, not chapter, Legion you're playing.
Right. So I mean, the Terminators and like Havocs are pretty generic. You can kind of run them with whoever. But it definitely you kind of want to if you specialize like in like Abaddon. I can only really recommend Abaddon if you're going Black Legion.
Yep. He's super cool, though.
He is a super cool model. They did a really good job on the new Abaddon, because
Yep.
the old one...
Oh.
Tiny boy.
Yeah.
You can also do... I know we have a guy who plays Creations of Bile.
Yep. Fabulous Bill.
Fabulous Bill. They did a good job on his model. I think his model looks great.
No, it looks great. I like him.
And honestly, the nice thing is that Chaos Space Marines have actually gotten a lot of new kits.
Yep.
Like, a lot of their range has gotten refreshed.
Yeah, it was
recently.
getting rough there for a while.
Which is good. They needed it.
Yeah.
They desperately needed it. The only thing that I know that they haven't refreshed that I know you really want is Khorne Berserkers. And just World Eaters in general.
Yeah.
See, the thing is the Chaos Space Marines that are kind of dedicated to a god are almost separate armies. So, like, Thousand Sons are a separate army, and Death Guard are a separate army. But World Eaters and Emperor's Children really didn't get the same treatment. And with Emperor's Children, it makes a little more sense because they really don't have, like, any exclusive kits. But World Eaters do. They got the Lord of Skulls. They got Berserkers. Yep. I mean, they've got a few little things to at least make them willing to be on, kind of good enough to be their own thing. But they just kind of haven't.
Yeah.
The Khorne Berserkers.
Also, why do they still sell those mutilators?
They're the melee obliterators. You think they would have just made that a multi-kit, but I guess not.
Yeah, the Khorne Berserkers
I love
are
these.
bad. They're also in like a weird, like, lighter color plastic.
Yeah. I assume they'll get a lot better once they go to 2 wounds.
Yeah, right now they're just...
But right now they're just kind of and they need a new model.
Yeah.
They're just kind of old and they're in desperate need of a refresh.
Demon Prince, again, super good in Chaos Space Marines.
Mm-hmm. And you even have you've got the Chitin.
Yeah, Chitin right here.
Which is one of their Forge World.
It's a Forge World model, yeah.
Which is it's basically just the...
Lord of Skulls with guns and less guns.
Yep, it's up here a ways. Yeah, this thing, the Lord of Skulls here, this, instead of being on treads, it's on feet. That's pretty much it. What else to say, honestly? I mean, the Lord Discordant. Lord Discordant's a good hero. You'll want one of those. Demon Prince, like we said in Chaos Demons, Demon Princes are really, really good.
Dark Apostle's pretty good.
Yep, it's a chaplain equivalent. I would not really, here's my thing. On the specialized Marines, like the Rubric Marines, unless you're playing Thousand Sons, I say no. Just ignore it.
There's the Night Lords, Chaos Lord. If you're playing Night Lords, you're probably playing it for fluff. You're not really playing it to be competitive. So with that, I wouldn't buy Start Collecting if you want to do Night Lords.
Yeah.
For me, Night Lords, you want as much jetpack stuff as you can get.
Mm-hmm. They did do the new Chaos Lord. He's a good kit.
Yeah. Wish he came with the helmeted option, but... Yeah.
Same with the Master of Executions. I wish he came with a...
different... Well, he does come with a different head, but...
Not a helmeted one.
Yeah.
They do put the Fallen and... Wait a minute. What? From $33. What? Alright, we're exploring. I want to know what this is about. What is this? What do you mean from 30... Okay, whatever. Look at this freaking goon. I'm not doing this anymore. They are chaos. Get them out of here.
From $33, huh? There's the one actual Mize Marine model you can buy.
Yeah. I forgot they still sell this guy. It's a cool model.
Yeah. But
I don't think that it really fits like I wouldn't... at $36, it's expensive. If you wanted to make a unit of 10, that's $360.
Yep.
And also, I just don't think he's really quite the aesthetic that you're looking for when you're trying to build a Emperor's Children army.
Yeah.
Possessed are really good.
Possessed are good. Hopefully, when they get their codex, they change that, give them a new model line.
Yeah, because their model is pretty old.
Yeah.
Warp Talon / Raptors.
They are about only good in, if you're playing them for fun, in Night Lords and stuff like that.
Which is a shame, because they're cool.
They're cool. I have a lot of Warp Talons.
And the Raptor kit's fairly new, isn't it?
Ish.
Or am I just thinking they redid it when they released Harkin?
You're just thinking they redid it when they released Harkin.
And they didn't, did they?
They did not. Nope.
Chaos Bikes need a new kit.
Yeah, they do.
Or they just need to go away, I guess. Yeah. Those are some old bikers. The Rhinos, same sort of thing as Space Marines. They can take Rhinos, they can take Land Raiders, all that stuff. Mutilators, get out of here. The Noctilith Crown.
I hated assembling that thing.
You'll die.
It's just a spiky frisbee that you put on a little stand.
Just murder people with it. It's giant, too.
Yeah, it's huge.
I think one thing that is definitely what's seeing most of the success in Chaos Space Marines is Demon Engine focus.
Oh, I love Demon Engines.
Which is good, because, the Demon Engines are super cool. Helldrakes are super cool. I don't know if Helldrakes are really the ones seeing the most success, but I know the Mauler Fiends and Forge Fiends are really, really good right now.
Yeah, that they are.
They're really good, really solid units, and they're pretty much good for any chapter.
Murder Space Puppies, that's what they are.
Right. Any Legion that you're going to do, they're really good for. A lot of this is Death Guard stuff. And yeah, we don't really need to talk about that. It's... Chaos Space Marines are just kind of in a weird spot. If you really like them, go with them. They're a ton of fun. And it's really just a shame that they didn't get updated to 2 wounds. Because... that would just make them so much better.
I mean, Death Guard have been updated to 2 wounds, and they feel good.
Right, and we'll talk about them later. I think they might be... Are they next? They are next.
Excellent.
So yeah, we'll go on to Death Guard, because I think that's pretty much it for Chaos Space Marines. If you want to do them, do them. But in terms of... They're in a little bit of a rough spot. But they'll get an update at some point in this edition.
I'm going to guess soon.
Alright, but on to Death Guard, which...
Gross boys.
I love Death Guard.
Me
Death
too.
Guard was my original army. When I started playing 40k, I played Death Guard.
They were my 8th edition army.
Oh, are they good? They are
good.
Ridiculous.
Today I was hanging out in our local GW. This guy came in, he's like, I want to play something that's good, but not quite broken. And Corey's like, oh, well, Death Guard's good. I'm like, I think they're borderline busted.
They
are cracked.
If this is what we can expect for Chaos Space Marines, then man, it is looking good. Because they gave Death Guard all of the tools that they needed. They just got better in every single way. But before we really... So Death Guard here is if you're going to go with Nurgle. They're dedicated to Nurgle. They're very, very tough. Super tough. Super hard to kill. They have an army-wide -1 damage, which a lot of people, I think, when that got changed, because they used to have a 5-up, feel no pain.
People were kind of like, oh, that's kind of...
Right. Bad. But I think it's definitely a buff.
It's a buff.
It's a buff straight up. Because there's so many things, especially the meta right now kind of revolves around 2 damage weapons, and that does not kill your regular Marines.
Nope.
And even things that are running 3 damage weapons to kill your Terminators, it doesn't kill your Terminators. So it is really, really hard. So let's talk about their combat patrol, because they have a combat patrol.
Easy. Buy 1.
Yeah, this is really easy. You buy 1 and do not buy more than 1, because you get what?
Typhus, bunch of Poxwalkers, and 7 Plague Marines.
Yep, you get 7 Plague Marines, a Biologist Putrefier, and 30 Poxwalkers.
I buy 1.
You buy 1. Typhus is good.
Yep.
Typhus is good. You'll use the Marines. You'll use that other little hero. You do not buy more than 1 of these. Mostly because of Typhus and that hero.
Yeah. You only want 1 of the...
Poxwalkers, I think, they kind of went up and down. I don't think they're quite as good as they used to be.
At 5 points a model, they're not as good as they used to be anymore.
I feel they definitely changed this army to really sort of want you to revolve around playing with a lot of Marines and a lot of Terminators.
Which good. I like seeing Marines on tables.
I didn't really like Poxwalkers to begin with, so I'm glad that they're not the center of attention anymore. Yeah, you buy 1. Yep. I can't say you buy any more than 1.
And expanding on that, Blightlord Terminators.
Yeah, Blightlord Terminators are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So good. They're really good. Plague Burst Crawlers, also insane.
That's part of the busted thing about this book.
Plague Burst Crawlers, I think Plague Burst Crawlers are if not the best, one of the best units that they have in their codex.
I'd say it's one of the best units in the game.
They are ridiculously strong. They have so much firepower, and they are so hard to take down.
Yep.
It's nigh impossible. Like, it with their -1 damage, and they get a 5-up invuln,
Yep.
and they have like 16 wounds or something like that. It is just so hard to take these things down.
And now they can actually shoot the entropy cannons and hit stuff with them.
Well, right, because they buffed like all the
Yep.
demon engines across the board, and this one definitely benefited from it the most.
Yeah.
And the thing is too is you buy like 3, you
Yep.
take 3. If you want to be competitive, that is, and they are gonna do so much.
And
good.
they'll make their points back very
Uh-huh.
quickly.
Yep.
Demon Prince.
Actually, I don't think demon princes are really.
I don't think they're a necessity.
Yeah.
But I think they're still definitely good.
They're probably okay, but I definitely like just taking Lords of Contagion because I like to play with the Marines end of things.
Right.
So, Possessed, don't even bother, honestly. There's better things to be taking. The Blight Haulers, I think, they went up in points, but they
I
got...
think you can still play them.
Yeah, I really like mine. I have one. It runs around. And now that it's multi-melta and it's a missile launcher hit on 3s instead of 4s, that just makes it a lot better.
And it's worth mentioning that, so in 8th edition, Lord's Terminator armor, Sorcerers, if they're Death Guard, they did not get disgustingly resilient.
Yeah.
But now they do.
Now they do.
Yep.
However, you can only take one Lord per detachment. Yep. So, I think you're better off just taking a Lord of Contagion. Lord of Contagion, although you can't buy one.
Yeah, you can't buy one anywhere.
If you want a Lord of Contagion, you go with the Lord of Virulence because it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, but he just doesn't have the big cool axe or the scythe.
No, but he does have the Flamer and the Power Fist, which is not a bad choice.
Buy more Marines.
Well, I guess they didn't do it. I thought they did a kit where it was like, no, it was these, and this is, we'll get to that. Mortarion. What do you think about him?
I love Moretarium.
I love Mortarion too.
So good.
They finally did what they needed to do, which is make me feel like taking a named character is worth it.
Yep.
Because in 8th edition, you would take named character, like I'd still take Mortarion, but I would never run him as my warlord because he wouldn't get a warlord trait. And so at that point, you're like, well, there's no point of taking him as the actual warlord. No. Unless they can take a warlord trait, but they had to choose a specific one.
They were limited to the one.
Yeah, so unless you wanted the one that they got, you would usually just pass on that.
Yeah. I really like Mortarion where he's at now.
Yeah, I think he's good. They gave him 3 warlord traits. He is resilient because they gave him that -1 damage.
Yep.
And he has to be your warlord now. Which is okay, because his warlord traits are disgusting.
Yeah.
They gave him the 5-up Feel No Pain, and and he's finally Toughness 8, which he needed. He needed to be Toughness 8.
It was silly that he wasn't Toughness 8.
He was still good pretty decent in 8th edition, but he's really good. Same sort of deal as the Greater Demons. If you're going to go with him, make sure you're like, all right, I'm ready for a big centerpiece model, because that was what he is. He's a gorgeous model. They did a great job on doing him.
Are you saying don't paint him in one sitting?
Don't do what I did. Yeah, I painted that entire model in one sitting, and
you had a rough time.
Well, I haven't done a bunch of big hobbying since, so.
It looks great.
Yeah, I think I did an okay job on it. But yeah, just know what you're getting yourself into. Deathstrike Terminators, I think, are super good. I really like Deathstrike Terminators.
I keep going back and forth on the Deathstrike because one game they will wreck face and I love them. The next game they will do nothing.
They're a little bit of a gamble, right? Because a lot of their value is dependent on you deep striking them in and them making that 9-inch charge.
Yep. It's also they also can take wounds from Moretarium.
Or characters, I think, just in general. Yeah. So they're a good bodyguard thing. I run a unit. They're fun. I have a lot of fun playing with them. Blight Lord Terminators are another one of the really good units. They were already good. They were already probably the best Terminators that you could take. Yep. And they got just...
They're like, have another wound.
Yeah, have another wound.
There's a
-1 damage.
There is a reason they are sold out online.
Yeah, they are by far, probably second best. The only thing that's probably better than them is the Plague Burst Crawler. The Chosen of Mortarion here is a group of models that came out in Dark Imperium, which was the starter set for 8th edition.
This set kind of has me tilted. Why is it that is
not a Lord of Contagion. That is a champion
That is
for a Plague Marine squad.
Yep. I wish that if that was Lord of Contagion, absolutely.
Yeah. That's like the one thing you're missing here.
Yep.
The Psyker's good. It's a good base Psyker.
Yep.
The Malignant Plague Caster. Yeah. And the Blight Lord or
Noxious
Blightbringer. I
can be hit or miss.
I don't think I don't run him a lot of the time.
I don't either. If I'm running a lot of Pox,
yeah, but at this point, like if I was buying this, it'd almost be I'm paying $60 for a Psyker, and I really think that's not super great of a deal. It's there if you want those models, but fingers crossed that one day they release a Lord of Contagion kit on its own, because
maybe someday
they need it. Bloat drones got a lot better.
I mean, they were good before.
They were good before, but now there's a reason to take something other than the flamers.
Yep.
The flesh mower is really good.
Yeah.
I don't know about the blight launcher cannon thing, but
except the flamers are still really good.
Yeah, and plague marines. Plague marines are also just good too.
Yep.
It's Death Guard is just such a good core army, and they're a good, easy beginner army too.
Very forgiving.
Very forgiving.
Paint wise and play wise.
Right. They're easy to paint, easy to play. Like there's really not a whole lot of downs. They're slow. That's like the biggest downside they have is that they're slow.
But they have a +3 to their shooting range.
And you would think, oh well, they're tanky, so they probably don't hit hard. They hit hard.
They hit really hard.
You do not want to be on the other end of a charge from these guys because they will wreck your day.
Yeah.
Death Guard, I think, got once I got the Codex, I was like, man, when I saw I was losing old Disgustingly Resilient, I was like,
you were really bummed out.
I was bummed out, and I was like, oh, well, maybe Death Guard's not going to be so hot this edition, but I was wrong.
You were mistaken.
I was wrong.
I played a game against one of the guys here that played Death Guard, and I played I would say a pretty hefty list of Space Marines, and I got dumpstered.
Yeah, they got a blessing from Papa Nurgle, from Papa GW. Yeah. They got good.
Yeah.
They can stand with the Space Marines, no problem.
Yeah.
They also all their basic Marines are the 2 wounds, and they got an extra attack too.
Yep.
They lost the extra attack on the charge, but they just essentially added that just all the time, which is just better.
Yep.
So definitely, I can recommend Death Guard all the way. They're super good, super easy.
I say them and Necrons might be the best beginner armies.
Yep, both are really easy, very beginner friendly play styles, and they're both really good right now. Yep. You're not gonna worry about I bought this army and I'm just getting dumpstered. I mean, the only reason you're gonna be losing per se is because you're still new at the game, and that's one thing to note. Also, we didn't really say that, but losing, especially if you're playing at a local game store, it's going to happen for new players. It can take people a long time to finally start getting to a point where you can get wins in 40K, because it's a complex game. But yeah, I think Death Guard outstanding, and they're really just a really good army overall.
A character that is worth mentioning is where is he? Plague Spewer Man.
Foul Blightspawn. He's not as good as he used to be.
Not as good as he used to be, but he's still really good.
He's still really good. Yeah.
In 8th edition, he would one-shot flyers.
Yeah, which was stupid, but I loved it.
With his flamethrower.
Yeah. Just a great unit. All right, moving on to the last one, and that is Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns.
Check chat real quick.
Yeah, quick.
After you unclick Death Guard.
All right. Anyone in the chat? No one in the chat. Okay, we'll move on to our Death Guard, or not Death Guard, Thousand Suns. All right. So, what do you think about Thousand Suns?
They're all right. They kind of suffer the same thing as regular Space Marines,
yep.
where they need their 2nd wound.
They need their Codex. I mean, if Death Guard was anything to go off of, they'll probably be really just a menace if they do even half as good as the Death Guard. Let's quick go over their start collecting, because they do have one.
This is another one of buy one.
You buy one, because you get some Zangors, some...
You get 10 Zangors, 10 Rubrics,
and Ahriman.
Yep.
It's a good start.
Yep.
You don't need more than this, mostly because of Ahriman.
Yep.
If that was
just a regular Exalted Sorcerer? I could make the argument buy 3.
Yep. But because it's just Ahriman, I guess you could maybe buy 2, so you could do Ahriman on foot and Ahriman on desk.
Yep.
In case you wanted that.
Yeah.
Other than that, just buy 1.
Yep.
So these guys, their whole thing is they're Tzeentch Marines, and so they do a lot of psychic. Lots of wizards, lots of spells.
Yep.
And they're actually pretty resilient too. They have a lot of
ignore AP, minus,
bonus to saves, invulns. They have good invulns. They're bulky in a different way than Death Guard.
Yeah.
Death Guard, I think, are more like practically bulky. They don't require you to roll super well to keep them.
These
kind of require you to hit that 4 up a lot to keep them alive. But
these guys actually have one of my favorite multi model kits.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Exalted Sorcerers.
The Exalted Sorcerers, you like them?
I love that kit.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
They're a pretty small army, all things considered, because the only things that are really unique to them are the Terminators, the Marines, and the Sorcerers, and then I guess Ahriman and Magnus. So they have 5 kits that are really their own.
Zangors.
You can take Zangors with them too, and you can also take Pink Horrors, I guess, because they haven't hit the point like Death Guard where they took the demons out.
Yep.
So they still have some demons they can take without that. It's important to note that they can take those demons and it doesn't break them being Thousand Sons.
I say for 1,000 Suns, you start collecting, you buy some more rubrics, maybe you pick up a big blob of Zangors.
Mm-hmm. Magnus is cool for a centerpiece.
Magnus, you eventually pick up Magnus as a centerpiece, but just expanding out from starting. Fill out some rubrics, some Zangors. The Exalted Sorcerers box gives you 3 sorcerers.
Yep. So you just need to buy one of those, and you're pretty much done.
Yep. And you don't need an HQ again.
Yep.
The Mutilate Vortex Beast.
He's fun.
If you're bringing a lot of Zangors, he's good.
I like him.
He is.
Terminators are cool. I like the Terminators.
I like the Scarab Cult Terminators. They just look good.
I mean, I just like Terminators in general, though. So.
And like I said, they'll be getting a buff when their codex comes out.
And Ahriman's a good character.
Yep.
He's like Typhus for Thousand Sons.
Yep.
He does everything they want him to do.
Yep.
I guess we didn't mention this. Death Guard has Psychers too. We talked about it a little bit.
Typhus.
But these guys definitely specialize much more towards
pretty much
that
every
Psyker
squad is a Psyker.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure every squad is actually. Yes. Other than Zangors, maybe. Yeah. They're going to cast a ton of spells. I don't think there is, because of, like we said with Chaos Demons, Tzeentch is a little bit less on the beginner-friendly end.
Yeah.
They're not as easy to play, but...
kind of knowing where I'm going to cast this spell.
Yep.
Is very important.
But,
it's very important to know where your spells are going and who's
casting them, and just keeping track of all that. There's a lot to keep track of.
Because you only cast a Psychic Power once per turn, except for Smite, and they can cast Smite without a penalty.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean...
That's pretty much it.
It's pretty much it. Sentence. Chaos is a bit shorter because there's just not as much of it, and they're really easy to go over. But yeah, I guess just some closing thoughts about just Chaos in general. I think they have a lot of cool models. They're a fun faction.
I like Chaos a lot.
They desperately need updates.
Yep.
A lot of their stuff is rules-wise is just a little lacking right now, except for Death Guard.
Yep.
Death Guard are outstanding. Everything else needs work.
It needs a little bit of a touch
right,
up.
A glow up. But I real cool. They have so many cool models. They just you're gonna be waiting a little bit for them to get their updates.
Yep.
But
that's just how it is,
Yep. It's like that with a lot of factions right now.
Yep.
But I think that's pretty much it.
I think that does wrap up Chaos.
And that wraps up the getting started for 40K. So I think, next week I think we're gonna do a little bit of Magic content.
Yep.
Stuff.
Strixhaven comes out in a couple weeks.
Strixhaven comes out. Maybe we'll look at some cards. Talk a little bit about Commander. But yeah, we'll see you back here, same time, same place. Thanks again to Turbulent Games for sponsoring the stream and giving us the place to record. They've been a huge help with making sure that that we've been able to do what we need to do.
Yep.
So,
and as always, support your local game store.
Yep.
It's very important to keep places that we can play, alive.
Especially during these times.
Yep.
There's I've heard a lot of places are going out of business and stuff. So if you can support where you play, we'd recommend you to, as where we support the place where we play, and we suggest you do the same. Because if you don't, it might not be there for you to play with. Especially now, it might even be only a matter of months, and they could go out of business. So make sure you're supporting where you play, and have a great evening wherever in the world you are.
Yeah. Let's go play some Commander, Davis.
Yeah, let's go.